A very good morning to all of you. I welcome you all to Baji Rao IAS Academy. Today is 24th June. We have certain important articles in our Hindu analysis. We will look into one by one article in this discussion. Let's start the discussion with the quotation of the day. We must use the time creatively in the knowledge that the time is always right to do right. If you think, many people wait for the right time to do their work. They want to do some work, they are interested in doing that, but they will wait for the time, for the correct time. For them, no, it is not the correct time. They will wait for some other future time. But what the Martin Luther King Jr. is saying here, it is the knowledge that we want to gain. If we want to do anything, this is the moment we want to do that. We should not postpone it. So basically he's saying postponement is the concept of lazy people. We should not be lazy. We should do those things at that right moment. We should not wait for the right time to come, because it is the right time. It is the yesterday's question. Which one of the following makes a tool with a stick to scrap insects from a hole in a tree or a log of wood? Option A, fishing cat. Option B, orangutan. Option C, otter. Option D, sloth bear. The answer for this question is orangutan. This is today's question. With reference to ancient South India, Korkai, Pumbuhar, Muchuri were well known as dash. Option A, capital cities. Option B, ports. Option C, centers of iron and steel making. Option D, shrines of Jain Tirthankars. Friends, try to give answer for this question and give in the comment section answer for this question. The answer for this question will be discussed in the tomorrow's discussion, guys. And these are the important articles what we have today. The first one is warm welcome. The Modi visit further strengthened the ties between India and the US. We all know our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji visited the US, and we had the several agreements in the future technologies and also sharing technologies. In this article, they have given some extra points. I already explained you many agreements and many opportunities what we have in this relation. We will add the extra points whatever they are saying here, and we will add into our notes. And the second article is strike a fine balance, have a just civil code. This is about the civil code. We all know recently our law commission has given the recommendation to get the public opinion to implement the civil code. So regarding this, the author has tried to give us a balance between the regional autonomy and the state authority. We will look into this article. It is very interesting article for today. Bridging the gap efforts to reduce the gender disparities. To reduce the gender disparities must continue in earnest. Recently, the World Economic Forum has released the gender gap index. In that, our Indian rank has improved. Even though it has improved, India has to do a lot. What are the problem with India? In which parameter we have lagged? We will look at this article in a very vivid and elaborate way. And the fourth article is squaring the circle at the India-Egypt summit. We all know after visiting the US, our Prime Minister will visit the Egypt capital Cairo, and they will have the official meeting. From this article, the author is saying Egypt has a very good potential, and India should enter into this bilateral relation with the Egypt, because Egypt has very good potential resources, and India can get the very good market from the Egypt. By explaining the opportunities, author also tried to provide the challenges in the Egypt. We will look into one by one, and we will also see the solution for that. So before talking about anything, we don't want to waste our time. Let's move into the first article. It is the first article. The Modi visit further strengthen the ties between India and the US. In yesterday's discussion, we have discussed very elaborately and vividly from the basic concept of the India-US relation. In yesterday, I have discussed in a very broad perspective. If you people not watch the video, please watch the video and get into this video. In yesterday's discussion, I have said you India and US are culturally, economically, technologically, scientifically, and in defense. In every field, they are interlinking with each other, and they are strengthening their bilateral ties. By saying this, the author is also trying to give some extra points here. Just keep into just keep this in mind and try to add this in your notes. What the author is saying, to become independent in the mineral acquaintance from the China, we are trying to get involved in the 11 nation mineral security partnership. India's decision to join the 11 nation mineral security partnership. Why India is trying to do that? Because India is dependent on the China for the mineral. China has the monopoly over certain rare minerals. To overcome that, we want this kind of partnership. Another thing, we are making agreement with the critical US in the critical and emerging technologies. This will be useful for our clean energy development in future. We all know India is focused more on the non-conventional energy sources, especially solar energy, lithium ion batteries. So for this kind of technology, we need the US help. That's what we signed the initiative on clean and emerging technologies. And also we are trying to strengthen our future cooperation here. In the case of space technology, India has agreed to join the Artemis Accord. What is Artemis Accord? Artemis Accord is the accord developed for the space exploration strategies. India has shown interest to join that Artemis Accord. If you think about the space relation, NASA and ISRO are joined together. They are planning to launch a mission to the International Space Station by 2024. So we are enlarging our relationship in different fields, including the science and technology, space technology, and every field. By saying all this positive aspect, author is adding the one certain difference between the US and India here. If you think about the India and the US, in case of the international arena, international problems, USA and India's opinion are somewhat different. For example, think about the Russia-Ukraine war. USA want India to stand against the Russia. India don't want to import the Russian oil. These are the demand of USA. But what India did, India took the middle path and we stand in the middle. We never go with the Russia and we never joined the West. So that is the view of India. Even though India want the peace regime in Ukraine and Russia, India want the democratic government in all over the world and peaceful and stability government in all over the world. India not opposed the Russia in this regard. It took the middle path. Whenever UN resolutions are tried to be passed against Russia, in that matter also, Russia stood apart from the, India stood apart from the voting and we tried to take the middle path. So this is one regard where India and US differs. And another perspective where India and US differ is in the China. The China is a rising threat for USA. USA considers China as a global threat. In future, they will stand against USA. But how we see China? China is not a threat to us because we see China as a backdoor enterer. China creates the string of pearl policy and they are trying to develop the military bases in the Indian Ocean region and the countries around the India. But we never see China as a threat for anyone because China is a neighbor. We need China's relation in our future perspective. So we never see China as a threat or enemy. And also from the US's perspective, they many times try to criticize the India on the minority issues because since from the past they have witnessed, especially they have encountered many communal violences in India. Due to this communal violences, India had get the negative image in the international arena. Whenever we go to project ourselves as a global economy, they try to say we want to ensure our minority rights. So it is what mentioned here. The US government is in the recent visit also they try to emphasize our minority rights should be protected. In fact, you think about the Obama administration, in that administration also when the Manmohan Singh ji was the prime minister, they tried to give comment and criticize us to reduce the communal violence or to abate the communal violence. So this is one of the black mark in our history, and in the present situation also they are trying to create this as a black mark for India. India should ensure the peaceful community. We should ensure the all rights and freedom to the minorities. In fact, if you compare other countries with India, India is the most peaceful country, friends. if you go into any other country, whatever country you take, whether it is a democratic or whether it is a monarch, they not providing any freedom to religious minorities. India is the only country which accommodate all religious minorities. In the name of secularism, we are protecting everyone with the fundamental rights to preserve their culture itself also. Let's move into the second article. This is strike a balance, strike a fine balance, have a just civil code. In the past discussion, we have discussed about the uniform civil code. What is this uniform civil code? Separate this word, uniform civil code. Uniform means creating the same uniform for everyone. Civil means these aspects like marriage, divorce, adoption, inheritance, abortion. These are civil related aspects. Criminal means that is different. These are civil. Uniform civil code. Regarding this matter, we are creating the uniform law. This uniform law will be applicable for all the people or all the citizens in the India. So what is basically the uniform civil code? Uniform civil code is the one that would provide for one law for the entire country applicable to all religious communities in their personal matters such as marriage, divorce, inheritance and adoption. Do we have any constitutional provision regarding this uniform civil code? Yes. The DPSP, Directive Principles of State Policy, in Part 4 contains the Article 44, which mentions that state shall endeavour to secure a uniform civil code for the citizens throughout the territory of India. If you think of the uniform civil code, what they cover? They cover areas like the marriage, divorce, maintenance, inheritance, adoption, succession of property. Basically, these matters are covered under the uniform civil code. If you think about the uniform civil code, a certain group of people favor the uniform civil code. Why they favor it? Because according to their view, a uniform civil code will integrate the India. Because we are creating the common law for everyone. Uniformity has been ensured, so it will create the integrated India. It will help in reducing the vote bank politics. Since we are bringing all the people in a uniformed land, uniform platform, there is no disparity or differences or discrimination between any community. If the discrimination present in our society, by using the discrimination, the regional leader or communal leaders rise and they try to influence those community and they try to make the vote bank politics. Once we make the uniform law for everyone, our differences will reduce and ultimately our vote bank politics and criminalization of politics will also reduce. What is this? Personal laws are a loophole. If you think in the past cases, the people from the different community tried to escape from the judgment by showing the personal laws, because different community have different. Hey, in Muslim community they can marriage more than two. It's a situation like that. By using this personal law, it created a loophole for them. They are escaping from the laws. Once we create the uniform civil code, this loophole can be plugged. Sign of modern progressive nation. See, if we create a platform for everyone, it's a single platform. Now everyone will be united, everyone will look equal, and equality can be ensured here. By ensuring the equality, our India, modern India, will look as a progressive nation. More rights to the women. By bringing the uniform civil code, women empowerment and women emancipation can be assured, because women are the victims. Women are the victims of most of the crimes regarding these personal laws. By giving this point, I also introduce a second article which is regarding the Global Gender Gap Index. Regarding the women rights and women empowerment, we will look into that article in a very elaborate manner. Please wait for a few seconds. And the other benefit from the UCC is all Indians should be treated same. We already treat everyone as same. No one is equal or no one is upper or no one is lower. Here everyone is equal. But by bringing the uniform civil code, we are bringing everyone under the same platform. This will create that all Indians are united and they will be treated same. Like will be treated alike. It promotes the real secularism. Already in our constitution, it has been enshrined that India is a secular country. We promote ourselves as a positive secular country. What we do? we give equal importance to all the nations, all the communities. By bringing the uniform civil code, it seems to encourage the secularism. And what is the other benefit? Change has been the law of nature. See, along with the time, everything changes. The author is trying to say here, along with the nature and time, the religious and personal laws will also change into the uniform civil code. So these are the arguments regarding the uniform civil code, guys. Now let's move into the article. What the author is trying to say, they are trying to keep some good arguments here. First of all, why this argument or debate has been started? Because the recent 22nd Law Commission has prescribed that uniform civil code should be reviewed and uniform civil code should projected into the people, and they want to gain the public opinion regarding the implementation of uniform civil code. So the debate has been started. If you think of the 22nd Law Commission has said UCC is neither necessary nor desirable, because they feel that uniform civil code will affect the religious minorities. Uniform civil code, whenever this topic has been raised, automatically the fear in public, especially in the minority community, are increasing. Here the author has tried to give the balanced view regarding the state religious autonomy and the state authority. Religious autonomy and the state authority, because we all know personal laws are basically derived from the religious ideals. Here the author is saying, whenever the religious giving the personal laws, whenever these personal laws are ensuring the welfare of the society, not creating any discrimination, then there is no role for the state to enter here. But once the personal laws which are derived from the religious beliefs are against the constitution, once these laws are promoting the discrimination in the society, then obviously in this kind of situation, the state should enter. They should try to bring equality in the society. That is what happening here, guys. The author is trying to say here, the state is entering here, the authority of the state has been empowered here. They want to enter and they bring the uniform civil code. By giving this balance, the author also said the uniform civil code should be voluntary. It should not be imposed by the state. By saying the past examples like the Special Marriage Act 1954 and the Succession Act 1925, author is saying that this act also brought the uniform civil code because it applicable for the whole Hindu community and whole other communities also. These are the voluntary uniform civil code. Author has said here that the recent public opinion we are seeking from the public should be in this regard only, because all the religious ideals should be brought in. It should be created as a common civil code for everyone. I already told you guys, the religious beliefs gives the personal laws. If we try to bring uniformity in personal laws, those who are in minority, they automatically get fear that their religious freedom will be shook off or taken off. But the author is trying to mention here that personal laws or even the uniform civil code, what we are trying to create, it has the root with the religious belief only. How? You think of the example Hindu Marriage Act. In case of Hindu Marriage Act, we created the uniform code for everyone, Hindu Marriage Act. This is the voluntary uniform civil code, Hindu Marriage Act. In the Hindu Marriage Act, the marriage will be only solemnized only if the marriage process is complete in itself. When the marriage process will be considered as complete, by completing the two process, which is the Saptapadi and the Datta. What is Saptapadi? Saptapadi is 7 steps around a fire. You all have witnessed in your lifetime that after completing the marriage, both bride and groom will come around the fire cult. This is called the Saptapati. And the other procession is a Datta. Datta is invocation before fire. They, in front of fire, take the promise that they will live together. So this is the religious belief of Hindus. These same provisions are added in the Hindu Marriage Act. So what the author is trying to say here, even if we create the uniform civil code, it will have the root from the religious belief. Both the personal laws are already from the religious belief. If we try to create the uniform civil code, it should also have the image of the religious belief. And the author has tried to give the one peculiar view here. This should be noted, because we all are seeing the constitution is the starting point. From the constitution, other laws should be enacted. We should promote the religious freedom to everyone. Uniform civil code should be promoted. We consider the constitution as the base. But what the author is saying? Author is saying the constitution is not the base. It is the topmost one, because we all are converging towards the constitution, because we already have the religious freedom, we already have the state autonomy governance, we have everything. He is saying that constitution is the ultimate thing. We should move towards that. We should not move beyond that. We should not move before that. We should converge into the constitution, because constitution has ensured all the things. It ensured the religious rights and also the uniform civil code. By article 29, it gives freedom to all minorities and majorities to protect their culture. So the constitution has both the part. One is religious freedom and also the uniform civil code. So the author is trying to say that the state should move its governance towards the uniform civil code. We want to create the uniform civil code by ensuring the constitutional provisions. And the author here tried to compare the multiculturalism in our world by comparing the different countries. If you think of the India is considered as a mosaic model of multiculturalism. What is mosaic model of culturalism? Think about the mosaic stones which contains the different colors in the different modulations. So in India also we have the different people who never intermingle with each other. They stay apart but look colorful and beautiful in itself. So that is the mosaic model of multiculturalism. But if you think of the America is also the multiculturalism, but it is a melting pot in which every culture melted together and they mingled together. So they won't have any particular cultural identity in America, but in India, along with the Indian citizenship, each and everyone has the cultural identity for themselves. In case of British, the British tried to create the homogeneity amongst the Hindus and the Muslims by grossly undermining the heterogeneity within the two religious community. In British, what they did, they combined both the communities and they created the uniform civil code for them, and they suppressed the heterogeneity in this community. So what the author is basically saying here, Indian communities should not be intermingled, because it is the multicultural aspect. India always look like that. They won't intermingle, but they stand together as an India. The right to cultural autonomy defines the Indian model of multiculturalism, because we all know our constitution has ensured to all the citizens that we have the right to protect our culture. This cultural autonomy has been given by the constitution itself. This cultural autonomy defines the Indian model of multiculturalism. In case of 21st Law Commission, what they said is, we should ensure, that is the government should ensure to bring equality between the men and women in different community. Equality between the men and women in different community. It doesn't mean we want to bring equality in all the community. See, note my point. We should bring equality between men and women in the different community. It doesn't mean we want to create equality for all community. Basically, we want to focus on the members of the community, not on the community itself. Getting me, guys? I'll repeat you. We should focus on the men and women disparity in the community, not on the community differences, because community differences is an integral aspect of India. It is a mosaic model of multiculturalism. We cannot intermingle them together. If you think of the French model of secularism, here the author compared the French model of secularism and the Indian secularism. Both are secular, but if you think in France, they stop all the religious freedom in the public spaces. Once you are in the under the four wall or inside the four wall, you can enjoy your religious freedom. Once you get out of the four walls, where you entered in the public space, your religious freedom are suppressed there. You cannot show your religious freedom, because friends, they think that by allowing the people to show religious authenticity in the public places, it will lead to the internal security problem. But in India, we ensured all the religions with the freedom of religion, where we have the freedom to have belief, faith and worship and conscience and propagate. We have different freedom regarding the religious rights. So what the author is saying, French have the secularism, but it is a negative model of secularism. India, we have the positive model of secularism. In France, what they did, they won't allow the religion to enter into the state. State will not enter into the religion. But in case of India, both are intermingled together. Whenever the religion creates any problem to the society, whenever the religion affects the fundamental rights of any individual, then the state will automatically enter into the religion and they will try to correct and rectify the mistakes, because they have the positive type of secularism. Basically, the author is trying to say here, if we want to create the uniform civil code, we should take opinion from the different communities, and the common laws which ensures the equality between all the members of the community should be enacted. And he is emphasizing here, the UCC should be voluntary, it should not be imposed, because India is a mosaic model of multiculturalism and we have the positive secularism. See, I have mentioned you one example in the past explanation, Akbar's Ibadat Khana. In Akbar's Ibadat Khana, he tried to convene or called all the religious experts and he discussed with him the different aspects of different religion. He took all the good aspects and combined together. He created the new religion with the code of conduct called Sul-Pe-Kul, and Akbar, he himself became the Jil-e-Ilahi. So that is what here author is trying to say. Indian government should also inculcate those important provisions which will be applicable for all. These provisions should be contributed in a voluntary manner. So let's move into another article, guys. It is the Global Gender Gap Index. Recently, we all know World Economic Forum has released the Global Gender Gap Index 2023. In this, India ranked the 127th position. Actually, India got improved its rank from the 135 from in 2022 to 127th in 2023. In this index, who topped it? Iceland, which is the temperate region country which have very good equality between the men and women. Before moving into this article, let's have the basic knowledge about the Global Gender Gap Index. Who released this Global Gender Gap Index? It is released by the World Economic Forum. Where it is located? It is located in the Switzerland, Geneva. The Switzerland government has recognized this World Economic Forum as an international institution for public-private cooperation. Now, let's see into the Switzerland, where it is located. Switzerland is located in the Europe. It is surrounded by different countries. Look into this, guys. Switzerland has a capital, Geneva, Zurich and Davos. These are the different important places in the Switzerland. See the bordering countries, guys. It is France, it is Germany, and in south we have the Italy, and from the east side we have the Austria. I think it is Czech Republic. Once you confirm in the map itself, guys, whether it is Czech Republic or Austria, and try to do comment here. So that is the Switzerland, guys. Here our World Economic Forum is situated. Now let's look into the Global Gender Gap Index. What is it? Actually, in this index, by using the 4 parameter, our World Economic Forum try to give rank for 145 countries. What are the 4 parameters? It is the economic participation and opportunity, next educational attainment, health and survival, and political empowerment. In these 4 parameters, mark will be given from 0 to 1. If your mark is 1, it shows you have the full gender parity. If your mark is 0, it is the complete imparity. Actually, this Global Gender Gap Index has been started in the 2006. Since from 2006 annually, the World Economic Forum releases the Global Gender Gap Index. What is the objective of this Global Gender Gap Index? The objective is to compass or evaluate the track of progress on relative gaps. We know different countries have different gaps in the gender relations. How the countries are working or improving their activity to fill this gap. This process will be evaluated, and according to that evaluation, rank will be given to different countries. Now let's move into the article, guys. Article, what the author has tried to say: even though we try to climb up the ladder in the ranking, we try to achieve 8 positions higher. Like we achieved the 127th rank out of the 146. But even though we improved our ranking, our improvement is not so good. According to author, the author has criticized from the different perspective, and he also provided some solution. What he has said: in case of the 4 parameter, the education and the political empowerment parameters are very good performed by India. In case of education, we have the good gross enrollment ratio in the higher education, and also we have very good enrollment ratios and literacy in India. Because of that, we are performing good in the education parameter. In case of political empowerment, we all should be thankful to the 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act, because it reserved the seats in the local governance. Because of that, in today's India, we have nearly 40% of the local government leaders are women. But what the author is saying, even though we provided women reservation in the local governance, what about the national or state politics? We have very less women participation in the politics of national and state level. So the author has insisted that women's reservation bill, which provides for the 33% seats for women in the Lok Sabha and Legislative Assembly, is pending in the Parliament. It should be passed in a very short period of time. He also tried to give the example with the Nagaland. Nagaland, which is state created in the 1963. From 1963 today it is 2023, near about 60 years. In the past 60 years or 60 years history of statehood, Nagaland has got only 2 MLAs, that too in the 2023. For 60 years, they never had any women MLAs. This is the pathetic situation in India, guys. Women are not empowered up to that level. In case of economic participation and opportunity, the author is mentioning here, even though we have brought the parity in wages between the men and women, we are lacking in certain other aspects. We brought in the parity, but what about the higher and technical positions? Higher and technical positions are always allotted to the women, always allotted to the men, and these higher authorities are not given to the women. So this is the idea of the author here, guys. He says that to encourage our economic participation, we should give the good education and vocational skill to the women. He is also saying here, women are mostly empowered in the household chores. Because of this household chores, they are wasting their time and energy in the household work itself. For household work, they are not paid. Even the household works are not calculated in the GDP calculation of our India. So he is basically saying women empowerment should come from the skillful education. With the skillful education, we also should create the employment opportunities for the women. Along with this, we should ensure the safety for the women, so that the women enter into the economic sphere and our economy will be promoted in this way. This is the opinion of the author, guys. And what he is saying, in the perspective of health and survival, even though we developed our sex ratio, there are certain lacuna in our health governance, because we want to ensure the maternal health after the postpartum period. We want to ensure good nutritious food to the pubic girls, because we all know nearly 50% of girls or women in India is anemic people. They lack iron content in their body. So basically in India, we are lacking in the health perspective of women. We should focus more on these pillars to ensure that we bring parity between men and women. because I remember one proverb of Vivekananda, a bird cannot fly with single wing. It should also have the second strong wing so that it fly to that height. So that is about this article, guys. Let's move into the another article, which is the squaring the circle at the India Egypt summit. After visiting the US, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi will visit the Egypt, and in its capital Cairo, he will meet the Egypt premier there. In this article, the author is trying to say Egypt has the potential to make good bilateral relation with India. By explaining the potential perspective, author also tried to give the challenges with the Egypt, and also the author insisted upon some solutions. First, let's look into the India-Egypt relations from different perspective. If you think of India and Egypt, since from historical time we have good relation with the Egypt, because you all know Indus Valley civilization which occurred in the 2500 BC. At the same time, we also had the Nile civilization where people stayed there. Trade link were established at that time itself, near about 2500 BC. 4500 years of relation we have with the Egypt. If you think of the demography of Egypt, Egypt is the largest populous country in the Arab world, because all other Arab nations have very small population. Egypt has near about 1 crore population. If you think about the trade relation, India was the Egypt's 6th largest trade partner, while Egypt was India's 38th trade partner. But if you think of or study about the trade volume or the investment value, it is very less regarding this Egypt and the India relation. The author is saying the underperformance of bilateral ties between India and Egypt is due to different reasons. In fact, it may be due to the absence of institutions of bilateral relations. Author is trying to say here, we have good external affairs minister, we have embassies, and we have good ambassadors to project our India. Even though we have these international institutions, we lack commitment or interest towards the Egypt, because we never see Egypt as that much important to our Indian relations in the international arena. But the author is saying Egypt has certain opportunities for India, because if you think of the Egypt is a politically and economically stable country, same like India. Egypt's largest import were refined petroleum, wheat, corn, pharmaceutical. If you think of wheat, Egypt is the world's largest importer. By saying these things, since Egypt is importing all these things, India has the very good potential to supply all these things to Egypt. By supplying this project, we can have the good bilateral relation, we can improve our economic relation with Egypt. And also, author has mentioned here, Egypt is trying to develop their infrastructure by launching the 49 mega project, which includes the New Cairo development and also nuclear power plant. They are trying to build the high-speed rail network. And also, he is saying, during the 2015 to 2019, Egypt was the world's 3rd largest arms importer. So these are the opportunities for India. India should leverage into these opportunities. They should make good bilateral relation with the Egypt. But by giving this positive perspective, the author has also tried to give the challenges with the India-Egypt relation. If you think of the Egypt financial stability has become weakened, all because of the global scenario, because of the pandemic, and because of Russian-Ukraine war, and because of other energy crisis. The energy rate and the food rate, this all increased. Because of this, inflation has occurred or raised in the Egypt. At present, we have 30% inflation in Egypt. Because of this inflation, the economic growth of Egypt has been abruptly, like it declined. Now, the financial situation of Egypt has become that much low. They are seeking the bailout from the IMF by accepting the economic condition what IMF imposed. They got the bailout package of nearly 3 billion. Along with this, they also get debt from the Gulf Arab states. Nearly they get 30 billion dollars from the Gulf Arab countries. So the economic situation of Egypt has become very worse. By using this situation, author is trying to give the solution for us. We should create the Exim line of credit with the Egypt. We can also create the barter trade system with the Egypt. Barter means we are exchanging the commodities. We will give the milk and we will take the energy or petroleum from there. It is a barter system. And another thing is emphasizing we should promote the rupee trading with the Egypt. By promoting the rupee trade, we will try to internationalize our rupee. If we internationalize our rupee value comparing with the dollar will increase. That is the revaluation of rupee. By encouraging the revaluation of rupee, we can ensure our rupee has become strengthened, our import and export are strengthened, our trade competitiveness will be improved. So what the author is saying, we should internationalize our rupee, we should promote the rupee as a trading money. The trade should be based on our rupee. So these are the important articles mentioned in Hindu editorial, guys. Let's move into the short news. So before going into the short news, look the Egypt in the map. This is the Egypt which has a capital Cairo. Nile river is flowing in the Cairo. Look the border country, guys. It is Libya and Sudan. And also look the coastal areas. It is the it is a Mediterranean Sea here and it is the Red Sea here. And it is the Sinai Peninsula which is strategically very important for Egypt. And here we have the Suez Canal which connect the Mediterranean Sea and the Red Sea. Let's move into the short news, guys. When India grows, the world grows, says Modi. Actually, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said, if India grows, the world will grow. Because you all know our India is focusing on Atmanirbharta. By ensuring the Atmanirbharta, India will try to empower itself. If the India try to empower itself, it will also empower the nearby developed countries. We will empower the global south. So basically our Prime Minister is emphasizing here, if India grows well, then definitely the world will become empowered, because everyone in the world will get soft power because of India's growth. So he is indirectly mentioning India will become the superpower in the world. Another short news is jet engine deal ensures 80% technology transfer to HAL, Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. In yesterday's discussion, I have told you that memorandum of understanding has been signed between the HAL and the General Electricals, which is the US company. If this memorandum of understanding should be implemented, they want to get signature from the US Senate. Now the US Senate has given note for this HAL and GE deal. So within 3 years we will get the first engine which is produced indigenously in India itself. It's not indigenously, it will be produced in India itself. For which flight we are producing this engine, guys? Do you remember? Please do in comment section. It is the Mk2 Tejas aircraft, light combat aircraft. For this we are developing the engine. G20 trade unions meet, emphasizes global social security. We all know, guys, G20 meeting has been going on. In this G20 we have L20 meeting, which is the Labor 20. The trade unions has tried to emphasize on the global social security. What is social security? Social security means we are providing to the labor the insurance facility, medical insurance facilities, and the post-retirement pension facilities, and the medical benefits, maternity benefits to the woman worker, crutch facility. These are the social securities. These all should be encouraged. This is the agenda of the G20 trade union meet, guys. And what is the fourth news? FCA not to consider request by the states for more food grains under the open market scheme. In yesterday news, I have discussed you, the center has given guidance to the FCA, Food Corporation of India, to keep the limit of 100-ton open market scheme scale. Under this, FCI will sell only 100 ton of food grains to the each and every state. Now what the states are saying, they need more food grains so that they can ensure the food security. But what is the center's view here? Center is saying here, under the PM Annadata Garib Kalyan Yojana, they are providing the 5 kg rice to the Antyodaya people. Under this scheme, we need to cover 60% of the poor people. So with this 100 ton of food grains, we can easily cover the 60% of these poor people. But the center is also having the objective that they want to maintain the inflation in the economy. Once these food grains are released into the economy, the inflation can be adjusted. So what that center is trying to say, by giving 100 ton only to the state, they are planning to sell the remaining food grains in the market itself, that is open market sale. Whoever got the bid for action, they can acquire the 100 ton food grains, but under one condition: whoever acquire or brought these food grains, they should not sell to the neighboring or nearby countries. They want to say in India itself, because we want to ensure the inflation got reduced in our India only. And the fifth news is UK accuses Russia for training combat dolphins in Crimea. And this is very funny news, guys. See, even though it seems to be funny, it is the very crucial message we want to look into, because Russia is using the animals and other natural resources as their combatant. This is not new for Russia, guys, because they already used whales and other otter, this kind of animals in their Arctic operations. So basically what they're doing, Russia is giving combat training to the animals in Crimean Peninsula. And sixth news is price stability is must for growth. Our RBI Deputy Governor has emphasized, if we want to ensure the growth of our India, we should ensure the price stability. Because we all know our Monetary Policy Committee has the work to control the inflation within the limit which we have for plus or minus 2%. Now what the RBI Deputy Governor is saying here, to ensure the growth of India, we should ensure the price stability, because without price stability we cannot attain the growth. If you think of the situation, all products has become very high in price, the demand will automatically fall. If the demand will fall, the supply will also try to reduce. Once the supply is reduced, production is also reduced. By reducing the production, what happened? Automatically the growth of Indian economy will get affected. So the RBI governor here tried to mention the price stability should be ensured. Most states failed to meet their capital spending targets in financial year 2022. I hope you have the basic understanding regarding the capital expenditure and current expenditure. If you don't have, don't worry, in future we will get different articles regarding this. I will explain you in a very good way. In the recent news, what they are saying, the report submitted by the Finance Ministry, they are saying most states are not spent up to the limit, up to the threshold on the capital expenditure. Most of the expenditure are focused on the current expenditure. In layman language, if I want to say, capital expenditure are those expenditure which can create the capital assets in the country. For example, if you are investing in the education or health sector or any other defense equipment or industries, it is the capital spending. If you focus on the current spending, like giving salaries or giving interest payment, these are regular payments which will come under the current account. So we have two accounts, current account and capital account. Capital account are the account in which huge lump sum amount are used to spend on the different asset creating properties. What they are saying, most properties failed to meet their capital spending. So whatever the state get income, they mostly spend them in the current account only. They not spent on the capital spending. In future we will get article and we will discuss all these things. Thank you so much, guys. That's all. I completed the video. If you like the video, please press the like button, and if you want me to develop myself, please give the suggestion, and don't forget to touch the subscriber button. Touch the subscriber button and give Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.